Hello, I'm here. It's David. I'm back today. I'm sorry we had some issues with the microphones and the system yesterday, but we're back on now. And thanks for all joining us. This is the SX-900. It's the baby to the Genos. Some people call it the baby Genos, and it's got many of the features of the Genos. It's a 5-octave keyboard, though, rather than 76. It's a lot more portable, and it has built-in speakers, which are really good. You can add some more to it if you wanted to. The screen's a little bit smaller, but it gives you a lot of the facilities, and it gives you a lot of the fun that you get from the Genos. So we're proud to have the SX-900 here. Let's see if any of you are joining me today. Oh, Struth, many messages. Thank you for all joining us. That's really great. Terence Parker, can't wait. Terence, you're a regular. Thank you for joining us again. Chris Davidson, thanks for joining us, Chris. Want to learn about the chord looper and perhaps why you would add a bass speaker. Well, the bass speaker that Yamaha make, the KWS 100, is a really good speaker that gives you just a bit more oomph in the bass area. So these speakers are great, but you always say normally that speakers built in don't give you a very good sound. They're not as rich as like the separate Tyros or Genos speakers, but the ones in here are phenomenal. They are really good speakers, but you get a bit more bass oomph from the bass one that Yamaha makes. It's about £170, and we do them regularly, and they're a great addition to a keyboard that you might want to take out, but maybe isn't going to be quite as cumbersome as all the separate speakers and the size of a Genos. This would allow you to take it out and just put it on the floor there and just give you extra bass. So that's a good one, Chris. We're going to talk about the chord looper. That's perfect. You've asked about the right thing. So I'll go through the chord looper in a little bit with us. Dennis Noble. Hi, Dennis from New Class Under Lyme. Thanks for joining us again. You're another regular. Great that you have got things fixed. Yeah, finally, it's good news. And looking forward to this afternoon session. Well, thank you. Scott in Tyneside. Good afternoon. Everyone, hope you are well in Tyneside. From Tyneside, that's good. It's jumping the pages again. Roy Martin. Can you navigate playlist easier than scrolling through the entire thing on Tyros? You could just jump. Yes, you can. In fact, we could do that quickly while I'm going through these questions, just so I don't miss it. So, Roy, let's show you the playlist feature itself. We have all our songs. What you have to remember is the playlist is a duplicate of all the songs that are in your registration area. So, if we go to a close-up of the screen, I think we can. Perfect. Thanks, Charlie. So, in our playlist, this is the playlist is the rhythm and blues one, but if we just go back to the playlist button, let's go the best way to go back, and we'll just go into the whole playlist. So we've got all these different categories, and these are the playlist for the SX900, and there's 9 categories, and each of them have a selection in. And when we go into that selection, we see a list. So we choose it, and then we press the exit, and it gives me the list. So in all of the ones that are in the bonus pack that we would load in automatically for you, but you could do at home if you haven't got them in your own, and then you press the tick to go straight into the song, and it goes green, or you can put the song in standby and then press it a second time to make it go green. So the tick is a shortcut straight to the song, and then you hit the other one and hit it again to turn on. So you've got 2 ways to go into the song in that respect. Now, if you wanted to search through all these songs, you can scroll through with the data wheel, but if you're in a list where there's loads, that's quite a lot to scroll through. But if you just want to find a song, I would say your quickest way to find one quickly is to go to the 2 registration buttons just here, the registrate, bank select. So if we wanted to find Jambalaya, look, instead of having to look through all the different playlists and things, press these 2 here, go to the search, and then in the black box at the top, you get the typewriter, and we can put in Jamb, that'll be enough, okay, and there's Jambalaya's option. So you don't need to use the playlist. The playlist is really a list that you've written out of all the songs that you want to play at the same time, but essentially if you're playing songs from the playlist and you want to search for something, it's probably quicker to come out and go into the registration bank select, because all the songs that the playlist is using are all found in the registration bank area, and all the playlist is doing is making them into a particular list that you might want to join the songs together and do a medley perhaps. So if you're doing a gig, you might have your own playlist. We can go into the word at the top here, go into the user area where your own playlist will be, or the Tyros 5 Music Finder files that we load in. But if you wanted to actually go in and find a particular song, I would recommend that we press these 2 buttons here together. Then we go to, I'll make sure in the user area, use the search magnifying glass, clear out the old letters, press the black box and just type in. So if we wanted to play Blue Moon, BLUEMOON, okay, and it finds it straight away. So that's what I would say, Roy. I think it's a quicker way to find a song quickly. If you're in the list and you just want to go down the list, we'll go back to that again, sorry Charlie. We can use the arrow down here to go 10 at a time, and we can go right to the bottom with this one here and right to the top with this one here. But if it's a particular song you just want to get to, I think that's the quicker way of doing it, by using these two. Okay, I hope that helps you, Roy. That's the first proper question answered. Okay, Tyneside, Scott in Tyneside, hope the team have remembered to put 50p in the meter. Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, but it wasn't that, I'm afraid. Okay, Terence Barker, question please. As is the chord looper on the SX-900, can you, I think it must be melody loop using perhaps the multipads? You could put a little melody loop in the multipads, yes you could. As long as you get the timing right to bring it in, you could use the multipads to record a little ditty, and then that would go along with it. We're going to use the chord looper, so we'll talk about that in a moment. Thank you. Michael Harvey, hi Michael. Stockton on Tees. Neville Jolly, hi Neville. Let's have a look. Everyone from Durham City. Scott in Tyneside, I'm looking forward to the session. Good. Albert Nicholson, hi from Wilmslow. Hi Albert. Mark Hoggard, hi from East Yorkshire. Hi Mark. Okay, let's have a look through a bit further then. Patrick McNally, you're all there listening again, that's great. Any questions here? Tyneside. Dave Martin from Leicester. Hi Dave. Oh sorry, Irchester. Stephen Johnson, can you explain how to use the autofill? That's a good question. Let's stop there. So Stephen Johnson, autofill is a button on this left hand side. If we can see the panel, there we go, we've got the little button here. Now what this does is it automates a fill-in to come in every time you change between A, B, C and D backing. So if I just have a backing on now, let's just go to a simple style. We'll go into, oh that's okay, reggae pop. We'll have that rhythm playing. Now, with the auto turned off, I can change between A, B, C and D, and it will go at the end of the bar, or however I've got it set, to the next fill-in, so the next backing. Now, if I've got the auto fill-in button turned down, that means that when I go between those four different buttons, it will give me a drum fill-in, either for the whole bar if I press it early on, or for the end of the bar. So if I play now again, so the fill-in will come to actually give us a little sort of a changeover to the next part. So if you're changing the ABCD and it's linked with the OTS link button to give us the voices as well. This is the other thing. OTS link means that it will link up to the one touch setting. So if that's down, my A will give me number 1, B, C and D will give me sounds as well as variations in the style. But the fill-in button will give me an auto drum fill-in in between. There's something else you can do when you're playing, is you can be having that thing. If you press the button again, you'll get a fill-in as well. So we can force the button to give us a fill-in rather than just when it's on auto. So if I press again the backing, so if I'm on B and I press it now, that's a great backing. I love all that in the background. So the button, if you press it a second time while it's playing, will give you a little fill-in. If I do it with just the drums themselves, and I hit the B, there you go. If I'm on C and I hit it now, they're quite powerful, aren't they, in that section? But what you're going to find is that, yes, it will give us a fill-in by pushing the button again. And if we go to the auto fill-in, just changing from any of them to another one will give us the fill-in as well. Something else that I use all the time is the break button. And while we're in this area, I'll show you the break button. Anytime we're in a backing, if we choose the break And again, the earlier you get it in the bar, you need to be kind of looking out for the orange light on this rhythm part to see the first beat of the bar. If you catch it early, the break means the rhythm will just stop and then it will continue again towards the end of the bar. So listen to what this is doing. I'll just change it to a more used style. Let's go into classic big band. There we go. So we're now playing, and I'll play my chord. Now if I get the end of the bar, it'll just give me like a fill-in really. But the earlier you get it in the bar, the more of a break it makes. So if I go now and play it and catch it at the beginning, so I'm going to watch for my flashing light. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it's really effective when you're playing to bring that in, and it just cuts it short. If I'm playing something like My Way, if we go to Epic Ballad, let's just go to the rhythm section and we'll search. Now this is the search again. We can press search in the style section, clear out the old search and type in, I'm going to put Epic. Okay, Epic Ballad. This is great when you're playing My Way and you want it to give all that powerful and stops in between. So let's have a look. Gotta remember how to play the song. So what it did then was when I pressed the C and I used it and pressed it again and again, it gave me the same sort of rhythm as My Way. If you listen. So that C button, that particular one suits it very well, but the break button just cuts it and then you can go in again. So I would use the break and the fill-ins quite a lot. The auto fill-in, you can have them coming in all the time if you wanted to, but it works very well to get those extra facilities. Okay, so I hope that helps with the auto fill-in question. And that was, so look, where are we on this list? Quite many questions, thank you. That was Stephen Johnson. Thanks, Stephen, for asking that. Okay, John Simpson, hi Johnson. Johnson's from Skelton in Redcar and Cleveland, up there, right? Okay. Malcolm Axon, good afternoon. Looking forward to it. I hope I'm up to your expectations. C Jolly Vet, I should be at work this afternoon, but I'm home with windows and doors open. This is a major gas incident in the area and had to be turned off. Oh, Struth. Well, I hope you're okay. I am patiently waiting for the gas engineer. Well, good luck, C Jolly Vet. I hope your gas is sorted out. Okay, John Ridgway, hi John from Hereford, John from Northwich, Don O'Farrell, got your SX-900 in Woodford, that's great. Well, I hope this helps you. Anthony Dowden, your logo at the top right is obliterating some things on the overhead view. I'm going to have to sack my audio and visual man for that. We'll get that sorted another time, I think. Okay, Chris Davidson, great tip. Oh, thank you. Okay, David Tuttle, ho David, from a fade button. Does it have a fade button or do you have to assign it? That's a good question. Yes, you do need to assign it. The rotary speaker is probably the best one you could use. This is for David Tuthill. So this rotary speaker is an assignable button. Can we see the panel, Charlie? That's it. So this button down by the modulation wheel is a rotary speaker. So we can use it to bring the Leslie speaker faster and slower. But if I press my direct access button and then I press my assignable button, it shows me at the bottom it's currently set, if we can have a look, that's good, to rotary fast. So if I turn this, just press the one with the orange around it, I can then go to overall, and I can, in fact it must be style fade in and out, and then that then leaves it set to my style file fade in and out on my rotary speaker button. So yes, you can allocate it, and again at the bottom of the screen, like we did the other day, you can actually set how long it takes to fade in and how long to fade out as well. So that's another thing that you can think about. Okay, good question, thank you very much. Okay, Roy Martin, hope that helped you. That's great. Alan Bourne, a bit late. Well, we can watch it again and again and again if you wanted to. If you are enjoying it and you get a bit out of it, there's a little thing at the bottom of the screen that says like with a thumbs up, and that helps us to know that you're enjoying it and you want us to keep doing these. So please put your thumbs up if you like it. That will be great for us. Scott in Tyneside, can you use a pedal to do the same thing and pressing the buttons? You can allocate a pedal to almost anything. So what we can do, Scott, is we can go to the, well, I have got a pedal down here. So if I press my, get the screen on close for you, press direct access, and then I'm going to tap my pedal now, and you'll see that it's currently linked to sustain. Okay. Now if I press my orange box, these are all the different things that we can allocate it to. Registration changes. So if we go to registration, we can make it push straight to one of the registration buttons, 1 to 8. We can make it go up or down the registrations. We can make it go to the registration sequence. Now, what was your choice? You said, can you use a pedal to do the same thing with it? So if you wanted to change to something to do with the style section, let's press style. We can make it go to one of the intros. We can make it go to synchro start or stop. A, B, C or D, which is I think probably what you're talking about, going in to bring the filling in from the A, B, C, D buttons. Fill down or self. And then endings, breaks, and even turn the accompaniment on and off to play it like a piano, and then OTS link on or off, fade in on and off. So there's all these things that you can, the fade as well. So you could actually link any of those to the foot switch, and you've got a facility for 2 foot switches on this model, and that has caused some problems. I don't know, I will explain this while I'm thinking about it. The foot switches on here, there's just 2. If you've had a Tyros or you've had a Genos before or as well, then you'd have 3. And that means the chances are that all your registrations will be allocated to the wrong places, because there's only 2 on here, and a Tyros or a Genos has 3. So what you can do, and this is a way that a few people have asked me recently, is you can use your registration memory freeze button to lock in the foot pedals. Okay, so let's say you've got one allocates the 2 pedals to the right way for you on your keyboard. You could put that into a registration button and save it in, which is fine. But every time you go to other registrations that other people have made, it will all be wrong again, because it won't be how you've wanted it. So what I would suggest you do is you save a registration bank, withdraw them in, okay, and when you press the memory button, you have to make sure you include on the screen, Charlie, the foot pedals tick, because that means that we're memorizing all the things that we want, including the foot pedals, which would be how you want to allocate them. And then the next stage you do is when you've saved those in and named them, then you've got that saved, you can bring that in at first just to lock it into the keyboard, and then we can change the freeze facility to lock in the foot pedals that you've brought each time you go to play the keyboard. So let's go to direct access, and I press the freeze button. I've got foot pedals in here too. So that means that once I've gone to my one registration I know has the correct foot switch settings, and then I go to freeze and make sure that I untick everything except for foot pedals. That means that I can press my button to get the foot pedals to the right setting, then turn freeze on, which I know will hold the foot pedal setting, and then anything else I go to on any of the other registrations, it won't affect the foot switches. So the freeze button just needs to be done each time you turn the keyboard on, unless of course you want to go to all the registrations that you've got on your keyboard and tweak them to the right settings. But my suggestion would be make one registration, call that bank correct foot switches or something like that, and then go to that every time you turn the keyboard on, select it with the correct foot switch settings, and then press the freeze button. And then whatever the freeze is on, whatever you're playing that session, that will keep the settings how you want them to be. Okay, now the other thing that you can do, the freeze can be used for lots of things, but the other way that you can lock things in is there is a facility in the menu to do what's called parameter lock. Now, this is something that we often set up for people, because if you're a certain choice of how you play your left-hand chords, you might want to lock that in, as well as the split point. You might have a certain note that you go up to when you're playing your chords, and we can lock that into what's called parameter lock. So if we go to the menu screen, menu here, and then we go to utility, and then we go to parameter lock, we can see these are all our choices. And I personally, I've just reset this. So every time you do a top note reset, you need to go back in and do this. But we can go split point and fingering type. And that means now that it will hold those settings forever and a day, unless you manually go in and change the split point and the fingering type. So that allows, even if you bring registrations in from other companies or other people, they won't affect the split point and the finger. They will stay the same. So if you're a one finger chord player or a piano player with full keyboard, even if you bring registrations in with 3 finger chords, it will lock in and keep in the parameter lock without pressing any buttons, whatever you've ticked. So the other options on here are the vocal harmony and mic settings. If you have those, and again, if you load in someone else's registrations, you can make sure that the harmony and mic settings stay the same if you tick it. And if you go in and manually change it, it will retain it from there onwards. But if you use that tick, that will keep the last setting that you manually made and keep it forever and a day, or until you do a reset on the top note. Okay, these are return level variations for and chorus and reverb type. EQ tends to be left there, but that's parameter lock, and it's found in the utility, which is the one with the spanner in the menu 2. Now menu 2 you can get to in a couple of ways. You can press the menu button on the panel and it jumps between the 2 menus, or you can choose it on the screen here, or you can just scroll across. You can swipe it and you can change it that way as well. So there's a few ways to do things. They're very clever, these Yamaha guys. Something else you can do when you're in the style section, okay, we can hold the style down until it goes yellow, and you see a little yellow line just come on the side here. If I do another one over this side, and there's the yellow coming in, they become our favorites, and they're on this star button at the top. So go to star, and those are the 2 that I've just done. We can still get rid of them from our favorites, but the idea is that you can put all your favorites from any section. We can put lounge, we can go to dance and put club reggae, and they will appear whenever we go to the star area in my shortlist. So if you're like me and you tend to stick to a certain few styles, then we can go in, and the same with the voices. We can go in the voice section, we can hold down a voice that we're going to use regularly, another one there, and then we press the star and it will just show us the ones that we've held down. Okay. Something else that we can do, if we let's say go to the preset area, it's quite nice to know how all these sounds are going to work and which one you should choose. If you want a steel guitar, we've got loads to choose from. So what you can do, choose the instrument you want to use and press the demo button just at the top here. Very good. If we go to the steel guitar slide and press the demo, it's great, isn't it? So you get a little idea of how to play the notes and how to get the best effects strumming 12 string. Okay, so that's a very good facility there. Now if we go into the style section again, something else that we can do, what was I just about to say? We can search. So just like we searched in the registration area, in the voices and the styles, we can search for the style that we want. So if you think, oh, I know it's got French in the title, but is what French something or other, let's go search, clear out the name at the top, touch the box and type in French, okay, and then it shows me all the ones with French musette, French waltz, French DJ. If we clear it again, if you wanted a 60s rhythm, we could put in 60, okay, and it will come up with all the ones with 60s in the title. Now this is particularly useful because what you're now finding is that the styles aren't in the right places anymore. There used to be a ballad section and they've now taken it off. So if you've got to find a ballad, again, let's just go to this top, clear it, delete the old letters and type in B-A-L-L-A-D, okay, and all the ballads come up. So we can find a style of rhythm, an easier way, because the ballads, there's some rhythm ballads and some jazz ballads and some Latin ballads, they're all dotted around. So the way that we can do it now is we can search for a part of the title that you want to find, and that will make it easier to search for it. Okay, let's go back to these questions then. Okay, so we're up to well, we've just done the fade button, pedals for the pressing the buttons, we've done that, that's good. Hi Derek Pugh, thank you very much. Shamia, greetings from Caracas, Caribbean. Oh wow, but you've got nice warm weather. Can you save and load a registration in the playlist that contains an audio format song? Can you save a registration in the playlist? Well, you've got to remember first of all that the registration is not a playlist. A playlist is just using the registration. So registrations are all in, let's say, these two buttons on the panel here where it says registration bank select, and if you're in a playlist, then that playlist is going to be using a selection of registrations in a list. It's just a list to be able to find them in order. If we want to go into the registration area, then each one will have these eight buttons to choose from, and when we press memory to actually record our registration, one of the tick boxes is audio song, which means yes, what you're saying is correct. You can link an audio song to a registration that we can access from the playlist area. So if you memorize the registration buttons with the audio song ticked and it was selected, then it would save it alongside the sound registrations in the 8 buttons. And when we go to the playlist feature and select the song, when you go to the button, it will bring back the audio. So yes, the answer is, it's a bit long-winded, but yes, you can put an audio song, allocate it to a registration, and it will load at the same time from the registration buttons which are used within the playlist area. Long-winded, I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I hope that helps you, Shamia. Ashia Noah, can you suggest, can we connect an SX-900 to another keyboard through MIDI, and how do we do that? Well, there's no MIDI on this keyboard. I'm just going to check. There is, oh yes, there is MIDI. Yes, there is. Okay, so we have a MIDI out on here and we have a MIDI in. So we could actually have another keyboard. Let's say I had another keyboard just behind me here, and I had a MIDI out from the SX-900 to a MIDI in on my other keyboard. That would mean that when I played the notes on my SX-900, the sounds from the other keyboard would also sound, as long as it's put through some speakers or has built-in speakers or is into the audio in on the back here. So yes, the MIDI will work to trigger off another keyboard from this keyboard, or you might want to use everything on this keyboard on a weighted piano field keyboard. So you could have MIDI out from the piano to MIDI in on this instrument, and that would mean that whenever you play the piano weighted keys, it would trigger off the equivalent note on this keyboard. Without even touching it, it would still sound. Okay, hope that helps you. 18 Mer 007 Ashish Noah. Okay, and how do you do it? So it's just a MIDI cable, whichever direction you want it to go, from the MIDI instrument to the MIDI instrument. Okay. Scott H Tyneside, can adjust the rotary speaker. Yes, you can. I'm sure you can. So the rotary speaker is the control down here, down by the pitch bend that you probably can just see now. If we press direct access and we touch that, that shows us how we get into it, and that goes into the what you're choosing it to be actually doing. But the rotary speaker itself is controlled, it's a DSP effect. Now I'm just going to find out where that is. Give me a second. Menu, might have to do this another time, just a sec. Live control. You could I might be able to do this next time, then I'll make sure I've practiced what the answer is. But there is you're going into your DSP effects, which could well be in here. I'm probably really close, but I'll find out for you. And next time we do it, I'll come back and confirm exactly how to do that for you. But a very good question. You've caught me out. Thank you. Let's block this guy now. Okay. Great tip on the freeze button. Thanks, Terence. Thank you very much. Okay. Leslie Edson. Hi, David. Enjoyed your afternoon sessions. Very informative. Thank you very much from York. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Shamia, thank you. Terence, only me giving you a thumbs up. Oh, no. Oh, we want more thumbs up, please. Come on. Press that button. Okay. Can you explain how the voice part 1, 2, 3 works? Does it depend on the velocity of the playing? Voice parts 1, 2, 3. Voice parts 1, 2, 3. Can you explain how the voice parts 1, 2, 3 works? Velocity of the playing. I think I'd like you to just tell me a bit more about what you mean by that, the voice part. If you can just confirm, Ashish, and I'll go through that a bit. Well, let's look at some more questions I've got written down here. So there are some that people have also forwarded to me. Jason Menegakis. Thanks for the, you've been fantastic. Not going to watch on YouTube, London Tube. Been on the tube watching it. That must be quite funny, sitting on a London Tube watching me play the keyboard. Thank you very much. Okay, assignable buttons and how they change the different registrations. Can I freeze them or do a master lock? So the assignable buttons, we've got 7 to choose from. And if you look at the main instrument, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along here, which is called 1A to F. And we've got the one down here called assignable. Now, if we go direct access, and then you press any of these 7 buttons, it goes straight into the area where the assignable buttons are on the screen. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can change them as we are here. But to freeze them or to keep them set in there, what you would do is you could include them in any registration. So when you're saving a registration, press this memory button to lock it in. And one of the buttons on here is assignable button. So you've got to make sure that's ticked before you memorize it into the registration area, and that will mean then that when you save them, they'll include the settings for all of the assignables, including things like pedals. So if I do that again, direct access, and hit one of these, we've got home shortcuts. Now these are the shortcuts at the bottom of the screen. So if I come out of there, voice part, chord looper, live control, assignable, channel and demo, these are changeable. So if we didn't want demo at the end, which is the one that plays through lots of the sounds and the styles, we can go direct access and into that page. We can go to demo and we can press it again and we can allocate it to something else. So I could allocate it to a shortcut to the utility button. There we go. And now exit, and it shows it me now in the utility area, and exit again. So now at the bottom of the screen I've got utility on display all the time, and you can decide what you want to be these shortcuts. It's very useful actually to be able to put the things that you personally are going to be doing and have them accessible, so you can think through which of those you want on that first screen. And also you've got another row of them there, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 6 more, 12, another one over here, 13. And if we just go in again, we've also got our foot pedals which you can assign to things. So you've got 13 different assignable places that you can have a shortcut to something. Now that's great. That means you can have a lot more access to everything without having to go menu 1, shortcut. You can just tie it in. So yes, that's a good way of doing it. So first answer to Jason is yes, they can be changed. You can have them for different things, and they can be stored in with the registration. So if you're going to store a registration, and you might want to save these assignable buttons to stay with that registration memory, and then when you save it, that will lock into those buttons. Okay. Can I freeze them or do a master lock of some kind? You can't. You could freeze the assignable buttons here. Look, so that it stays on what you've got at the moment through any registration, but you could put it into a registration as well if you wanted to. This is the thing, that when you're setting up all your registrations from the beginning, the more that you know, the better you'll be, because you'll have programmed them all with everything how you wanted them, rather than to think, what's the way back round it again, because I forgot to save my foot switches into all the registration. So it is worth thinking about it from the beginning when you get a new keyboard. Now, how am I going to do this? And step back and think, right, well, all the registrations are holding all this information. Let's get it right from the beginning. What's the difference between tweaking a style and saving as new in the style creator versus tweaking a style and saving a registration? So they'll both do the same thing, Jason. If you were to make some changes to the sound or the style within a style creator or the channel facility, you can just memorize it and make sure that the style is ticked and put it into one of your registration buttons. The difference is that you can't go back to it so easily. Now, if you save it as a user style, when you go to the style area in the orange area, and then we go to user, then we'll have it there and it'll have exactly what we want to use again. But if you don't save it there, you've got to think, now, where did I put it and why didn't I save it before? So I would suggest that it's always worth saving a style into the user area if you've made some changes into it. But you can just go memory and registration bank and put it in there, and it will put it into that registration, but it won't be ready to use next time. That's the difference. So the registration bank is kind of a photograph of what you've got selected on the screen. It remembers everything from all the different, or most of the different sections, as long as you've ticked them, and it puts them in there. But if you want to go back and have that same setting, but you don't want to be using exactly the same registration settings, then for styles you may as well just put them into that user style area. That's what I would do. Another one from Jason, microphone effects. I've dabbled a bit over your suggestions on how to use mic. We will do mics, just not today, okay, but I will get back to those for you. Okay, another one here. Hi David, I enjoy and learn every time from your live streams. Just got a Genus and I have a question for the live stream. I have a song style on a USB stick and I want to change the voice on the right hand, left and right 3, and save to the USB stick. Is that possible? I can also save the registration, but I don't want that. I want to just save it to the USB. Many greetings from the Netherlands. Oh, well, thanks very much. I haven't got a name on there actually, but anyway, well, I'll answer the question for you, no problem at all. So for people who want to know what I've just talked about here, if I've rumbled through, if you've got a style in the style section and you want to change the voices that are being used with it, I think the best way to do that is to use the one-touch settings. On the panel here, we've got the 1, 2, 3 and 4, and these can be made into whatever you want them to be. We did this on Genos a couple of days ago. So the idea is if you've got a, let's just, what we've got Classic Big Band on at the moment, and I'll turn off the OTS link for a moment on the left hand side, just so I'm using it exactly how the keyboard is. So let's just go into a Classic Big Band A backing. Okay, so at the moment I've got number 1, piano, 2, clarinet, number 3, and 4 is. So we've got our 4 settings, but if we wanted to change that and make it exactly what we wanted it to be, we can edit it and we can memorize it into those 4 buttons. So let's just give you an example. I've got the piano on number 1. And I'm going to change that to a guitar. So all we're going to do, we're going to go to the main screen. We can see at the moment I've only got the right one selected, and I'm going to touch the picture and I'm going to change it to a guitar. I'm going to change it to something that you'll know is different to a piano. We're going to go to a 50s guitar. So we've now got our sound, and I'm going to memorize that by the same memory button on the panel that I use when I'm recording the registration. So I'm going to press the memory. Can we have a full screen? Memory, and I'm going to go across to one touch setting number 1 and touch it, and it flashes, look. Now it automatically tells me one touch setting data has been changed. If you select another style without executing a save operation, the data will be lost. So I've now changed that to guitar. So I've now changed it from a piano, and I now need to save it. So do you want to save it? It's actually saying, if you want to save it, yes. Now you might want to do all 4 first of all, but if you want to do it like I'm going to do, press yes, and it's now saying we're going to save it. Where do you want to save it? Now for the question that we've got from the Netherlands, we need to go to the USB stick, and then we need to go save here. And we can call it the same name or a new name. So you'll have started off with your one on your stick. We've now made the changes to it, And now we're going to go in. Oh, you said about 3 changes, so I'll do that in a moment as well. We'll go in, we'll call it Classic Big Band number 1. Okay, and I've now got my registration. If I go into my memory stick and USB, where do we put it? And this is an interesting one, because we were already in a file within that stick, it's lost it somewhere in between. So I'm going to save it again. I've got it there. So I'm going to go, this time I'm going to go to my style area, which is here. And I'm going to go file. I know it's there, isn't it now? Right, okay, so we've got to remember what we're looking for and where it's going to be. And this is, I've made the cardinal error now, so I'll show you what lots of people do and ask me why they can't find something. And I've done the same. So if you're looking for a style, it's going to be in the style section, which is the one with the orange bar along the top. If we go into this style section here, we can then find all the styles, and there's my Classic Big Band one that I've just stored. If you're in the registration area, when you go to find it, you're never going to find it because it won't be in the registration area. So you've got to make sure you look in the right place. So we've made the changes to the OTS link on the main screen just on the right hand side here. We've made that change to a guitar. And the place that that would save is, because it's attached to the style, it saves in the style area. And we've got it in the user on the USB 1 place. Now, the question that we were asked in the Netherlands was put in 4 sounds in. So let's do that now. We're going to add the left-hand sound. And to choose the sound we want, if we can have the top screen, the top button here has to be on to change the sound in that section. So I'm going to press this top button. I'm going to go in and put a oo choir. That's fine. Now we've got number 1, which is our guitar. And then number 2, we're going to turn on here. And I'm going to bring in a flugelhorn. And number 3 I'm going to turn on. And I'm going to bring in strings. Now I could change my balance at this point. Go to the mixer EQ. And make sure we're on... where have we got to be? Mixer pan volume, there we go. And then we can see all our different sections, and we can then balance them so that the first sound is the guitar, second one's the flugel, and the strings. So once we get to how we want it to, we can then memorize them. So we press the memory button, and then on the big screen, if we can go to it, Charlie, we can now go across to number 1 again and store that in. And again, it comes up with this reminder, do you want to save it? Yes. We've already called it Classic Big Band, so we want to save here. Keep the name the same. OK. It already exists. Do you want to overwrite it? Yes. And that now means that in the style area, we have our Classic Big Band 1, and that has the changes. So even if I go to a different sound and back to number 1 again, wouldn't have put those together, but just to show you how it works. So we've got those 3 voices. We've stored them into the style in the USB where they started, and we've called them Classic Big Band 1, and that's a new style, and it's left the original the same. So I hope that helps you in the Netherlands. Thanks for asking us the question. Okay, another one from Adrian Woods. Hi Adrian. Been watching the YouTube videos, really good, keep up the good work, thank you very much, make me blush. Question though, on the Genos you can connect a wireless router, what's the advantages? I've connected ours but don't know what it achieves. Perhaps the next YouTube live stream you could explain. Well, personally I don't think there's a lot of benefits from linking up to the router. You could link it up if you were downloading things directly into it from maybe the Yamaha MusicSoft website, like the free expansion packs. You can now do those wirelessly. The thing that you can do, which I do find useful if you want to sort of link it up, is there's a Bluetooth link. So if we go to the menu, and we go to menu 2 by pressing it again, we've got this one called Bluetooth. Now what I like doing, if we press Bluetooth here, we can connect it to our phone or iPad. So I've got my phone here. Let's just show you how that works. I've got my phone, and come out of here. If we go to swipe down for Bluetooth, turn it on. Okay, and we can choose on here. I've actually got, you won't be able to see it, perhaps on a close-up of the screen, Charlie. You can actually perhaps just see that I've got PSR SX-900 coming up on my Bluetooth paired devices to pair. So I'm going to press that, and it says connecting, and it now says connected on the screen, and you can now see it's David's Galaxy S25G. So yes, you can do that, and that now means I can play some music. So if I go to my phone again, if we go to the same screen, Charlie, and I go to my Spotify account, I can choose some music. Here's one, and it should, there we go, and I can play along. And it's great fun to play along. It's a good track, this. Stop that. So yes, it can be done. You can pair it very easily, and then you can use it with something from an outside source. Now Yamaha have got lots of apps that you can also do, which again we'll cover another time when I'm prepared. But there's an app which will allow you certainly on Apple phones to have a piece of music in your iTunes library, and it will actually show you on the screen of your phone or tablet. It will show you all the chords and the chord changes, which is really good, and that's automated just from knowing the song and listening to it. Yamaha's app will actually work out most of the chords correctly, and it's a really good way to be able to jam along. So that's another feature. Okay, back to your questions. We've got some more on the iPad now. Let's have a look. Where did we get to? Also loads. Okay. Let me know if this is okay. Let me know if there's any more questions that you've got. Let me know that you're finding this useful. That would be good to know too. Alan Bourne, a bit late today. We've covered that one. Terence Parker, great on the freeze button. Richard Fuller, hi Richard, just joined us from Thetford in Norfolk. That's nice. And we're going to Centre Parks there. Okay. Tom McCauley, good afternoon from a very sunny Melton Mowbray in Leicestershire. Hi, nice to have you with us, Tom. Okay, here's another question from Ashish. No, this is what we're trying to get. Can we connect a MIDI surface controller that has faders to control the volumes, filter and other parameters? Or is there any controller that we can use to control the parameters? Well, I mean, the parameters are available to control from here quite well anyway. I'm sure there is something you can use. It's just not something I'm au fait with to be able to give you good advice on, really. There is a very good helpline. There's a few guys, Dusty, Daniel and Steve at Yamaha in the UK, and their number is it's 01908 366 700 or 0845 811 116, and they are just that more technical than me, than probably help you. They're not doing the videos, I don't think, but they'll be able to go through more detail about certain specific questions with link ups. So I'm sorry I failed on that one, Ashish. Okay, Scott from Tyneside, don't worry David, I have some sleepless nights until my Christmas gig start. Well, I'm sure you will. Okay, Terence Barker, do you sell a good audible microphone? We don't really do the best microphones, we just do the standard ones. They're about £39. They're totally adequate, and they'll do the job for most people for home use. If you're going to go into doing gigging and things, you might want to go to a microphone that's £100 and not £40. But we do have some microphones, just plug in and give you vocal harmonies. They'll give you facility to talk and get the if you're doing a gig anyway, you can do talking and set it to reverb for singing and add all their vocal effects and harmonies, which is nice. Andy Long, hi Andy, sorry late, watch it on the catch up. That's good. Okay, Alan Bourne, wireless link very useful when using Songbook Plus, as you can get your sheet music on the iPad to set up the units. Now this is a new thing. That's a very good thing to bring up, Alan, thank you. There's a new thing called Songbook Plus that Yamaha have just either bought or made or set up or are endorsing, and what it does is it means that you can use this app on your computer, iPad or phone or whatever, and the music that you've got in Songbook Plus will trigger off the correct registration on your keyboard, or the keyboard will trigger off the correct music from the memory of your iPad or tablet. So what you can do is it links them together, and it's free to use, I understand, and it means that you can then do your gig, and as soon as you choose the registration, it brings the sheet music up that you've also put into that system to use, and it keeps it all very easy. So it's rather than having to get your music out and then find the right registration, it just syncs it all very easy. Now we've got a blog on this which Sam, our guy, has done, and if you go to our website ePianos.co.uk, We'll put it in the comments. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, we've put a link in the comments. But essentially, if you go to menu and then go down, you've got blog at the bottom on the left of our website, and there's a blog that Sam's done which is explaining all about Songbook Plus and how useful it is. So have a look at that. Okay. Does the Songbook Plus work on SX-900? I'm pretty certain it does. Yeah, I'm sure it's SX-900 as well. I'm sure that Alan will know this, but I think it does. Paul Ashby. Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for the information. We'll have to watch again. Okay, well, that's the beauty of this. You can keep going back, and if I've rambled through something too quickly, you can use the pause button to make sure you understand what I've said. Playing a lot with vocoder on the mic now. Well, the vocoder is a really cool thing. The mic extra settings, the vocal harmony facility, there's a vocoder too. Vocoder is where it kind of manipulates your voice and can change it quite a lot to different sounds and things. So rather than just getting harmony from the microphone harmonizer, you can now get the vocoder, and it tweaks all the things that you're doing and makes a totally different effect. So that's worth having a fiddle with too. Okay, Scott, thank you very much. So there's some more questions answered. I've got a load of other things to do, and I don't think we're going to have enough time. How long are we up to so far? 5 minutes left. Okay, so I'm sorry, we're covering loads, but nothing that I was planning to show you today. Those to show you. Okay, so I've got down mixing sounds. This is a good one. We've touched on it, but if we think about the sounds that we're going to be playing on the keyboard, you've got 4 main sections. You've got the left-hand section for the lower keyboard, and you've got 3 sounds that can be mixed together for the upper part of your sound. Right 1, right 2, and right 3. Now, if we're going to mix some sounds together, the best way to balance them so that the one that you want as the dominant one is the highest volume, and then the others are at the right volume to that, go to the mixer EQ, which is just to the left of the screen here. And then we can see here we've got right 1, right 2, right 3, and left. And these are your volumes. Now you can either touch the volume, and then the orange bar goes around it, and we can then use the data wheel to make it more specific. Or we can just grab it and slide it. So it's up to you how you do that. Okay, just by there. And if we go to any of these, we just touch it, and then we can use the data wheel to go up and down. Okay, so they're a way that you can make some changes to a setting, get the volumes of all the different sounds that you want, and then you could then memorize it in or just play it while you set it up there. So that's the mixing sounds. Now on here we've also got the style volume, the volume of a multipads, and we've also got the MIDI song playback volume and the audio playback volume. And if we go to the right here, we've now got a separate one for the microphone input, auxiliary in on the back, and the input for my phone if it's connected on Bluetooth or whatever you've got. So you can get all the balances exactly how you want them to be, and that's a really useful feature. Okay, storing settings. Well, we've kind of covered storing settings, but essentially if you want to make a setting and save it, you can do it linked to the style in the one touch setting area, or we can do it in these 8 buttons called the registration memory. Now let's just say we wanted to save a quick setting now. We literally press memory, we go to all these ticks and make sure the correct ones are ticked, and then we press the button that we want to store it into, and it flashes. If we've got the freeze button, it will retain all those things that we want to be retained in our registrations So if we keep the freeze button down when we've got some things that we wish we'd done before, all our future registrations, if the freeze is down with those settings, will be kept in the next ones because it will hold them in place. And then at the end, when we've made those bank of registrations, we then need to press these registration bank plus and minus buttons together. And then we want to be in the user section ideally. Make sure we're not in a file. Now if you're in a file, you'll see that you've got this little arrow in the bottom right hand corner, and that tells you that you're within another file at the moment. So you've really got it on that main screen, Charlie. Press that arrow and bring yourself out so there's no more arrows, and that means you're at the top level. So you've got to imagine that this top level has got all the folders in it. If you go into a folder, then you're going to save it somewhere that you might not find so easily. So I would say that you need to come out of there. Now we've put on the sounds that we load in, we put a little dash at the beginning because the what do you call them, the dashes and the dots and the percentage marks, all those things, the symbols, will mean that they come earlier on because it's an alphabetical order list. And if we go further through, we'll start on the A's and B's next when we've gone past all the other stuff. So what we'll do is we'll save it now. We'll press the 2 registration bank buttons together. We'll come out of the file we're in, make sure we're in the user area, and then we'll go to the file button here and we choose save. There we go, save there. And then we've already chose where we want to be, so we can go save here. And we've got a name there. We might want to give it a new name, and then we press OK. And that then puts it in the area for us. Okay. Now we can also move around all our different things to make them we can move around all our things to make them neater, and this is another thing that people have asked me about. So if we go back to our first screen, if we press those two registration bank buttons together, and we're in the user area now, and the first page has got the Tyros 5, and then we're into the banks that we've made. If you wanted to, you could put all the new stuff into a new folder. I was talking to somebody on the phone yesterday, and we put a folder together which was where he put all his favourite things that he'd just made, so he knew where to find his registrations alongside the ones that we've loaded in. So all you do with that, make sure you're at the top level first and use the user area, which is where you want to store everything really. Go to File and go to New Folder. Just here, look, New Folder. And that then gives us a new folder, and we can name it at this point. So if I delete the old letters that are in there, and I'm going to call it, as a capital with the blue on, D, A, B, I, D. We're doing apostrophe, so we've got to go to symbol and put in apostrophe, and then S, and then I'm going to put registrations. Let's get rid of that capital. Registrations. Okay, and I've now made a folder called David's Registrations. Because it's a folder, it comes at the top, and that means now if I want to start saving some groups of my registrations that I've made by storing them in like we just did, I can go to the registration bank area, I can go to File, I can go to Save, and I can save it straight into this folder. So I choose the folder, which currently is empty, and I save my file in there, get the name right, okay, and that's the first thing that's now in my folder called David's Registrations. And to come back out of it, hit this little arrow, and then we can see it's at the top there. I can go into my Tyros ones, which I know is 1,825 songs over many, many pages. Come back out with this arrow, and I can now go into David's Registrations, and there's the song that I've just put in. Let's put one more in. We'll go we'll pretend we've saved some more, and we'll go registration bank, and we'll go File, Save. I'm already in the right place. Save here, and I'm going to call it a new name. Just call it Song. Okay, and now I've got two songs in there. And to come back out again, I press the arrow at the bottom, and that takes me back to my main screen where I've got all the files, the Tyros 5, and now the folder that I've just made. Okay, and don't forget we can still search. If I wanted to find that one registration called Song that I've just put in, just go to Search, clear the old letters in there, and then press the black box and type in Song. And one of the, got to type it correctly, one of the files that will be in there will be, it's quite a lot with Song actually, there will be, don't say you can't find it now. Did we call it Song? Registration bank Song in the user. This is where it's not going right. Let's just find it Song. Okay. And it's found it for me. There we go. Let's just check that again. So we go into the to registration bank for the Song area. Let's go back to the top. Press search. Type in Song. Okay. And it's gone to my Song in the user area, and it's found it for me. So we can put our own registrations in, and we can search for them very easily and find the name that we've called it, just like we did in the style section and in the voice section. Okay, I'm going to finish off with just a couple of styles I want to show you, because we are running out of time and I tend to waffle on loads. Let's just look at the last few messages before I finish. We've got Alan Bourne, the free version of Songbook will only save 15 pieces of music, and then it's $1.49 a month. So the Songbook facility is very, very useful. $1.49 a month isn't going to break the bank, I shouldn't think, but it will give you the option to then use it and have as many songs in there. A bit like an iTunes account, I suppose. Thanks for letting me know that, Alan. That's great. Scott in Tyneside, you're doing night shift tonight, David, so I'm being watched later, am I okay? Terence Parker, great session, David, a lot. Didn't know about the SX-900 and had mine 18 months now. Well, that's great. That's good to be able to show you some more stuff, Terence. James W, hi David, enjoyed your afternoon sessions. Which styles did you use when you played My Heart Will Go On? Well, it's a good question, I didn't tell you that. I used, in the entertainer section, one called Ethereal, and it's on, no, it's a movie and show, and it's called Ethereal Movie, and it just suits it very well. Now, these are what's called free play styles, and free play basically means that there is no beat that you have to keep to. So if I just play that style that I was using, if I turn that on now and play it. Now, the beat does show that it's going through, but there is no beat to actually keep a timing to. If you go into a break or use the fill-ins, it does go for just a duration of 1 bar, but it doesn't really matter because there's no defined time. So most of the breaks and the fill-ins are just cymbals and wishy-washy bits. So if you listen, if I go to the panel, okay, so that's a really good style. There's another one next to it called Ethereal Voices, and this is great as well. It's very choral hymns. So if we go to intro. Beautiful sounds. So really, really big sounds. The ethereal free plays are excellent backings. There's some more dotted around. You've got an ethereal, you've got a hymn free play, you've got a Broadway free play, but they're just good because they just let you play at your own speed, no pressure. Great for hymns, great for nice, powerful songs where you can really push a bit harder and get all those effects coming in with the whoosh and so forth. So good fun, and that's the ethereal. So that was a good question. I didn't tell you what I was using, so well asked. Thank you. Albert Nicholson, before you finish, would you recap the 3-chord tip for playing by ear? Okay, I will, Albert. And excellent, learn something on every broadcast. Well, that's great, John from Northwich. Thank you very much. And Terence Parker, have a good day, Dave. So the 3-chord thing we talked about the other day, it's going to take longer than a minute, I'm sure. But I was saying that if you play by ear or you want to try playing by ear, then stick to one key is much easier because you'll get familiar with the chords. So I personally play in the key of F, and my 3 chords are F, B flat, and C, or C seventh. If you're in the key of C, then you can play just the white notes and no flats or sharps, and then your C, G, and F. And a lot of songs that you would play, especially hymns and older songs like that, would be available to play in just the 3 chords. And that means that you can you can bluff your way through the melody, and the chords, you've only got 3 to choose from in most cases, and that will be enough to get you by. So if you're playing what we just played then, Lord and Father of Exile, something like that, or a hymn, then you can play your 3 chords and that should be enough. Now, I was talking the other day about playing extra notes in the right hand too, and what you do is you include the notes from your chord below the melody. So to play some of your own harmonies, then you would play the chord and the melody note at the top of your right hand, but the notes below it might be the extra notes that you've stolen effectively from the chord to make your own harmonies. So the 3-chord trick is very easy for you to work out for yourself, Albert. If you wanted to play a song and you wanted to play it in a particular key, then you can work out the 3 chords because you can count your way through the scale. So if it's in the key of C, which is on all the white notes, then I'll do it from this keyboard picture. We've got C. The 1st, the 4th and the 5th are the chords. So C is number 1, 1, 2, 3, F is number 4 and G is number 5. So 1, 4, 5. In the key of C, then we've got C, F and G. If we're playing the key of D, 1. Now in the key of D we've got an F sharp and we've got a C sharp. So we've got to make sure we include those in our counting. But 1, 2, 3, 4. So D is our main chord, G is our 4th and A is our 5th. If we're playing in the key of B flat, so we've got B flat and E flat. So we've got to go 1, B flat is our main chord, 1, 2, 3, E flat is our second chord and F is our third chord. So if you're playing in different keys, but I would say stick to 1. C, G or F are the easiest keys because in the key of C you've got no sharps or flats. In the key of F you've got just the B flat as your accidental, and the key of G you've got just an F sharp. So that's the way I would do it, and just try those 3 chords. You can enhance it a little bit very easily by the 5th note, which is your 3rd chord that we just pointed out. We can use a 7th. So instead of just playing a C, F and G, you could have C, F and use the G as a 7th chord, so play a G7. And all your chords are in the instrument. If we go to the screen quickly, let's go to the menu. We've actually got something called Chord Tutor in menu number 2 on the right here. When I select it, it allows me to go to any chord and it shows me the notes that I'm going to need, and the same on the stave for those chords. I can go to all these complicated chords, 7th augmented or major 7th, flat and 5th, and it will show me how it's written and all the notes that are used in that chord. So you can work out a chord even if you haven't got a chord book. You can go to this keyboard and it's got a built-in chord book. Okay, I'm going to finish on one song. Hope that's helped you on that, Albert. Terence has put, thank you, complicate things by using A plus semitones long. Then you go, well, there's lots of awkward chords in there, but yeah, we'll keep to the simple ones, much easier. Bluff your way through. So I'm just going to finish off on one song, Trad Jazz. I love Trad Jazz. So I'm going to go to the solo, style section, go into jazz. I'm going to go through to find Trad Jazz piano, which is a brilliant style. I once did a tweak on this for Left Bank 2. If you look on YouTube and search for ePianos Left Bank 2, there's quite a good fun setting for a Tyros, which we did, and we put some banjos and things in, which I can share again if you like it. But I'll just play Trad Jazz as it is. Intro, and make sure the transpose is back to normal again. That's another thing. Press these two together on the panel, the transpose, and it makes sure it's put it back to 0, because if I was up higher, if I press them together, it just puts it back to 0. Same with tempo. Press them together and you'll get the tempo suited to that particular style. Okay, let's see what we got then. Intro number 2. Go a little bit faster. Thanks everybody. We'll see you very soon, and we'll be showing you more keyboards. Keep your questions coming in. Likes and all those things on the thumbs up are great. Thank you very much. And any questions, just email them through. Check out our website, ePianos.co.uk. And thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.